7 o'clock. This is Songwriters Live and Alive with Tom Cooney on Rocking the Valley and on Facebook Live and Tom Cooney Music Facebook Live. We're here every Monday night at 7 o'clock. We have our special guest, Rob Lincoln, who's in the green room getting ready, and it'll be very exciting to have Rob with us tonight. I'll be doing a formal introduction of Rob pretty soon. Let's get right into the music on Songwriters Live and Alive. This is a song called The Sad-Eyed Boy from Klonmel. The fields won't bear again this year. Eyes of sorrow have turned to fear. Everything's been stolen on the cheap and hauled across the Irish Sea, leaving empty stomachs and full cemeteries. Now the sad-eyed boy from Klonmel knows there's only one story left to tell. It lies across the wild Atlantic at the break of day, far from these emerald shores in America. Canals are to be built and cloth to make, railroads to dig and earth to break. There's more labor to be stolen on the cheap in a brand new land of gentry and thieves, leaving empty hearts and full cemeteries. Now the sad-eyed boy from Klonmel knows there's only one story left to tell. It lies across the wild Atlantic at the break of day, far from these emerald shores in America. Maybe new dreams live there for the ones we bury here. Maybe Ireland is a fire we carry deep inside our souls. But the sky cries this morning for the love, for the leaving. May new angels carry us far away to our brand new home. Now the sad-eyed boy from Klonmel knows there's only one story left to tell. It lies across the wild Atlantic at the break of day, far from these emerald shores in America. Across the wild Atlantic at the break of day, far from these emerald shores in America.
Hello there.
Hey there.
So here's the deal.
Rob Lincoln's with us. Hey, Rob.
Yes, and I can hear everybody as long as I don't have headphones. Isn't that
What?
weird?
For folks in the audience, this is what musicians have been doing for the last 5 months or so, figuring out the strange and temporary inconveniences of Zoom, Facebook, YouTube, and their dynamic and ever-changing relationships. We had a mad scramble in the background before the show trying to straighten all the tech out. Thank you for your patience in solving that problem, Rob.
Well, yes, it's. I'm sorry I missed most of your song. I know that you have a whole historical shows, for everybody to hear. And of course, I'm famous for my historical songs. So of course, I was not going to play any historical songs tonight. But I don't know. I don't know if I should change my tact or try something. But maybe I'll throw in an historical song along the way.
You are the special guest. You can do whatever you want. Our special guest this week is Rob Lincoln. He's a singer-songwriter from southern New Jersey who is unique and generous and versatile, multi-instrumentalist who does folk, who does Americana, a little bit of psychedelia, a little bit of garage, and a very creative musician at that. Rob, good evening.
Good evening.
I ran into Rob back in 2002, I think, when I first moved down to Philadelphia. He's been with the Philadelphia Area Songwriters Alliance, PASA, for a long, long time and is one of the key drivers in that group. Does an amazing job running it with Christine Winchester Perry, I think, is your current cohort right now.
And Heidi Wilson.
And Heidi Wilson, of course, Heidi. And talk about a generous and warm group of musicians. The count now is in the many hundreds of people who actually belong to PASA. Is that true?
That's right. We have over 400 members. It's free membership, so that's a nice convenience. And about 60 or 70 people that are somewhat active, and maybe a core 30 people that pretty much you see all the time.
That is amazing for a regional songwriters group to have that kind of consistent participation. Yeah. A lot of them are very small, and a lot of them go away. True. So kudos to you and everyone at PASA. And as I always say, every time I see you, thank you for the opportunity for me, as I kept my IT career going and being on the road so much, of always coming back to PASA every few years to see you guys again, to give me a chance to play some originals. And now that I've retired from my chaotic IT career, and I'm putting a lot of time into music, it is just been great to reconnect with you guys. It's just wonderful.
Well, it's always great to have you, and you were a core member for a while, and now you're back. That's great. It
is a good thing. Hey, what would you like to play for us first, and then we can chat a little bit about many of the diverse things we teased about.
Okay. Well, of course, I'm known for historical songs, among others, so I won't play one first. I've been toying with what I call Nick Drake tuning. It's C, G, C, E, F, C, E. And Nick Drake, of course, was that songwriter from England. I guess he was Welsh, maybe, who died at the ripe old age, I think 24, 26, very young. But he had a very distinctive sound. And this doesn't sound anything like Nick Drake, but it is his tuning. And this song is inspired by lots of things going on, but in a vague sense, nothing specific. It's called Garlic Town, written very recently in that tuning. Ready to hear it?
Let's go.
Papa's been cooking that spicy food in the kitchen. Mama's been chasing those vampires down the block. Sister's been so busy with all them fixing, and I've been standing in the nurse with my teeth full of garlic town, never want no strangers around. Garlic town, trying not to make a sound. Everyone shows a scowl and frown. Garlic town. Chopping those garlic bulbs right up on the table, putting them in the puddings and the pies, trying to spread the flavor wherever we go. And all of them people just spread those garlic lies. Garlic town, ain't got no strangers around. Garlic town. Everybody wears a scowl frown. Everybody wears a scowl frown. Garlic town. drinking that Kool-Aid and eating that spicy meal. Garlic breath is everywhere you breathe now. And enticing spice that you no longer smell or feel. Got it crown. Ain't one no strings around. And got it crown. Cannot even make a sound. Everyone chose a scout around. Got it crown. Got it crown. Got it crown.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Garlic Town, is that based on a true story of sorts?
Well, it's based on the world today in this country, actually.
Yeah.
We're all living in Garlic Town right now.
What,
Yeah.
what does that mean to you as a songwriter when you picked that phrase?
Well, initially, the way I write is rather peculiar. I pick phrases before I know what the heck I'm going to be writing about. And then as it comes out, I realize what it's reflecting. So came out, but then as it began to kind of look a little dystopian to me, I have lots of dystopian songs, and the idea that we're all kind of, there's a lot of friction right now. You may have noticed that
Yeah.
and I think there's a sense that people are afraid to get close to other people that they don't know. I think there's issues as far as welcoming strangers. You might have noticed that as well, and.
Yeah.
So I think some of that, but I like my songs, at least certain of my songs like this one, to kind of be interpreted any way that people would like to. They might just see it as a fun song, which is great.
Yeah.
I think there's just two real general approaches. I'd say that you want a song to be precise and find the exact words so you convey what you mean, and there's the idea that you're not precise, so that everybody could kind of put their own meaning to it. And I think there's validity for both types of songs.
Yeah, definitely. I think my political songs tend to be very direct, and my romantic or emotional songs tend to be more obtuse, I think.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. But this one, I don't know it's not a romantic song, but it's emotional.
Yeah. So in general, though, it's a phrase or a turn of the word that usually starts your song. So it's more toward the lyric side first.
No, actually, it's strange. I always write the music first, but I always have like a phrase that'll come out of the music. So I started like playing it. In this case, I had the music, and then I either, as I was playing the music, the phrase came out, or I looked at like a list of titles and phrases that I have, and then from there the song sprang. That's really the process that I use most often, is either no lyrics at all and it comes right out of the music, or having the titles. And that's good when you want to write in volume. It's
Yes, yeah.
Part of my shtick.
Yeah. When the music comes first, is it the general harmony of a chord progression, or is it strong, like you hear a melody?
Very often it's the chord progression, and the melody comes very quickly after that.
Yeah.
Occasionally I'll get the melody first, but almost always it's coming up with a progression that's a little different, just a slight twist on things. And I've been now working recently a lot in this tuning, so I'm just kind of learning how to play it. So it's fresh for me.
Yeah, I think it's the same for me on the music side. Anyway, I almost always fill out the harmonic progression first, and I understand the flow of the basic of the harmony and the internal harmonic movement, and then, as you say, a melody will kind of grow from the inherent thing you've constructed.
Exactly.
Yeah, interesting. Fascinating. As you can tell, folks, as you've told every other week here on Songwriters Alive, this is one of the neat parts about the show. We get to talk a little bit about the craft and in between all the music, and we talk about our special guest as well. And it's fascinating. This is the fun stuff, to get a peek behind the art and behind the artist. It's just really neat stuff. We had talked a little bit about PASA and the Philadelphia Area Songwriters Alliance. And you started two very unique things in the PASA group. One was the House Concert Series, and the other was Songfest. Can you talk about those and the importance of those?
Sure. Back in 2001, we decided to try a house concert. Very often house concerts don't last all that long, particularly if there's money involved. One of the unique things about PASA is everything's free, so there's no way you're going to lose money on it. And we started, I think at the time, singer-songwriter Eric Balke was in charge, and I kind of pitched the idea to him, and he said, well, let's give it a shot quarterly, and it became so popular we very quickly went monthly. And the only time we've missed it is there's been I think 2 blizzards and 9/11, and other than that,
Yeah.
pretty good. I would say it's the second most popular of all of our events. The first most popular, of course, is the Cover Me Party, which Heidi Wolfson created, where we cover each other's songs. That's every December. But the house concerts are quite popular. We have all sorts of people headlining. You can come on by for one song if you haven't been there before, and after a while, if you stay involved, you're going to become a headliner normally if you can entertain people. And the Songfest that was started around the same time. It was inspired by a number of different things, but ultimately it's a day-long event. It's capped off with an evening where you both write songs during the day as well as play in circles that are thematic. And I'll give you credit. We came up with the Song Works as well, and that was one. When you were at a Songfest, you were one of the people who suggested, why don't we just have a day full of writing? I came up with the title of Song Works, but I didn't come up with the Songfest title. That goes to Eric. But I always give credit where credit is due.
Well, thank you. Yeah, those semi-annual workshops are fantastic because everyone's lives are so busy that if you can lock that Saturday to say, I'm going to take, 3 or 4 workshops and maybe find some private writing time, maybe some co-write time, that I'm going to stop my world for a day and really, really focus on some craft here. And then at night, that same night, as you said, there's open stage, which is, I tell you, it's really liberating. And it's fun to be around other artists of any kind, but especially musicians. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and some of our gutsy performers will perform songs that they wrote just an hour or 2 ago. So it's always interesting to hear that.
Oh, yeah, I've done that. I remember the first time I did that with Mick Choder. We stepped right out under the wire, and it was my heart was pounding. I'm going to get right on to the second round of music here. Thanks for sharing with us about PASA. And let me just confirm the last thing you talked about, which is not every songwriting group does this, where you cover each other's songs. As it is such a... There's so many dimensions to doing that. It keeps the whole group alive. It keeps the whole group confirming that they're listening to each other. And you get to hear different arrangements of what someone thinks that song could sound like. Not every group does that. It's really fascinating.
It is, and it's a lot of work, and Heidi Wolfson pulls it off every year, does a tremendous job with that. So, yeah, it is an amazing, amazing experience.
Yeah, it's neat stuff. That first song I did was called The Sad-Eyed Boy from Klonmel. It's an original I wrote a few years ago in honor of my grandfather, who was the sad-eyed boy from Clonmel, Ireland, who had to leave and come to America. My dad was in his late 40s when I was born. His dad was in his late 40s when my dad was born, so that's why my grandfather was an emigre in the latter part of the 1800s, even though it's 2020. We have these long generations. Clonmel is down on the border between Cork and Tipperary, and it's a heartfelt song about having to leave with a little bit of political commentary about why maybe a lot of it didn't have to happen. So, pretty interesting thing. My second song is a song about a multi-generational, fictional family of secret agent pilots. Daddy flew the money bags through the night to Tehran. Grandpa ran gold to banana republics, trading tanks and guns. Me, I was flying right seat before I learned how to ride a bike, and I joined the family business. All the time, anywhere I wanna be, I'm a company man. From a DC-3 to a 737 to my little C-5A. Black paint, no lights or call letters. I fly by night to save the day. I got a diplomats to tell the lies, bankers to wash the gold, deeper pockets than poor boy soldiers, and the media to get it all sold. I'm a company man, bringing chaos and democracy, all war, all the time, anywhere I wanna be. I'm a company man, Southern Air Transport, baby. Cocaine from Managua to LA. Little sister flies renditions, but to where she cannot say. Me, I'm running lit jets to Moscow and to the troll farms in Belarus. Hey, last one out, turn out the lights, there's nothing left to lose. I'm a company man, bringing chaos and democracy, all war, all the time, anywhere I wanna be. I'm a company man, the company, Southern Air Transport, baby.
That was great. Well, that brings back all sorts of thoughts. You know, first of all, I was thinking, do I have any secret agent songs? I do have Agent 99. Oh my, you're so fine. You're my little Agent 99. But I have never performed that one. You can hear it on YouTube. It's
Wow.
dedicated to Barbara Feldon. But that is a great song.
Thank you. Was that her number in Get Smart, 99?
99, yes.
It was, wow.
Oh, good spy. You know, it's interesting. I won't get political here, but my whole impression of intelligence agencies has been changing. Very different times we live in. So I won't say which direction it's changing, but I'll just say that back in the day, we had different viewpoints both ways around. Whether you're on the left or right or the middle, or you're switching your whole impressions of things. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's true. Now people might have to be relying on them much more so than they ever thought.
That's what that's what I was getting at. I'm not sure everyone looks at it that way, but yes, that's what I'm thinking of. You know, and we won't get political. We will just say that politics is everywhere, and in history there is a lot of politics. And you know, I'll end with a history song. But why don't you before I go into the second song, what was I going to say? Was I going to say anything of any meaning? I don't know. Do you have anything to ask me?
Yeah, actually, not unless you could remember what you're going to say, but I can go right on to some other stuff.
Yeah, go ahead and.
Yeah, I got to tell you that folks out in the audience, this is Rob Lincoln. He's our special guest this week on Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney. Rob is from Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Is that true? That is true. Mount Laurel, New Jersey, greater Philadelphia tri-state area. He has been around in the Philadelphia folk scene and beyond for many, many decades. He is one of the driving forces behind the Philadelphia Area Songwriters Alliance as well. A very talented guy and a great songwriter. Some of the key shows that you've done, I noticed that you did the Philadelphia Folk Festival again.
It was great, yeah. We did a virtual version with my wonderful band. I play with Steve Lessig and Art Cohen, and Lessig and Lincoln and Cohen.
Yes.
And basically, Steve's an amazing singer as well as a percussionist, and Art Cohen just has a whole vast array of talents for that band. He just plays bass and sings a little harmony, but he's an amazing electric guitarist with the band Cubism. They're also members of Cubism along with Heidi Wilson. But basically, yes, it was a great experience. For that particular show, we had a theme that we traveled all around the world and played a song from every location imaginable, and most were original songs. And we also played the regular folk festival a couple of years before that.
Right, right. That is wonderful. So that is the Philadelphia Folk Festival in its 59th version this year, first year virtual ever. It is the world's longest continuously running outdoor festival, America's longest continuing outdoor festival. I noticed that you are also have been supporting a lot of other musicians in addition to your individual work. I've seen you, of course, with your band Lessig and Lincoln and Cohen, and you've played with Heidi Wolfson, with Lisa Jeanette, with Reed McCardle, some recent work with Julianne Ott.
Yeah, with Julianne Ott, it's the others are all well. Heidi Wolfson, I've had a long history with, but I'm not a regular player with her or any of the others except Julianne Ott. I do play regularly with whenever we get a chance. Right now, we're not playing much, obviously because of the
Yeah.
team. But yeah, she's a wonderful songwriter.
Yeah, good. Are there any other collaborations that you have done recently or are working on behind the scenes or?
Well, I'm working on these alternate tunings. At some point, I might try to do like a solo thing again. Lessig and Lincoln and Cohen are going to be doing a sea shanty CD at some point. Some of the sea shanties will be traditional and others will be original. But for my solo stuff, this whole Nick Drake kind of feel, I might work with that. Of course, that would be my second album. My first album was a little unusual. That's generally what I'm best known for, my first album, which I'm still fighting with the Guinness Book of World Records on.
You are talking about 5 Cents a Song, which was released in 2014 with over 300 songs. It is the world's longest debut by an original musician artist. And there were apparently bonus songs in addition to the 300.
Yeah, we figured we'd give them their money's worth. So we have 42 bonus songs as well as a couple videos on there. I want to thank Art Cohen for coming up with the figuring out how to do that. I think technologically, it's the first time anything was done like that.
Yeah.
It did get some nice publicity.
Yes, it did. Yeah. And it covered about 15 years of songwriting. 30 years of songwriting.
Yes, interestingly enough, from the age of 15 to 46. So it only went up to 2005, and I've been keeping the pace up because the first 300 took me 31 years, and the next 300 have taken me about 15 years. So I'm up to about 652 at this point.
Well, this is good. I was afraid you were slacking, Rob, but this is good to hear.
I don't have time. I got to get to 1,000. I have a plan to do that, and yeah, actually, I'm thinking of trying to create like a system to get to 1,000 before I croak. So
the reviews that you alluded to were from Mike Miller of Tune Up, from DME out of Canada, from Icon Magazine in the U.S., New Jersey Monthly from the U.K., from Folking in the U.K., and the album did get a lot of really good response out there.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the Mike Miller review because I believe it was one of the last things he ever reviewed. He was a legend with the Philadelphia Folk Song Society, and he was very picky. So the fact that he enjoyed my material meant a lot to me.
Yeah, it's very good stuff. Very good stuff. Another release that you had prior to that was in 1994. Lessig and Lincoln put out Other Lives, which I still hear you do songs from.
Yes. Now that makes me think maybe I should pull out another live song. But yeah, some of those early songs are still in my brain. I can do them. There was a number of historical songs, but the idea behind that album was everything was about somebody else's life. Although you never know, sometimes my life slips in secretly in some of my songs, and people I know, or people I actually know might be in there. But Steve Lessig did an amazing job, not only singing, but he actually did all of the recording. He was the recording engineer, and it still holds up pretty well. I think it got about 7 of its cuts were played on radio, which pretty nice.
Boy, that is wonderful. You had another release with a band you were in called Men from When, called About Time, and that was in 2007.
Yes, that's an incognito version of Lessig and Lincoln and Cohen. That was our electric version, and Art Cohen did the recording for that, and it was basically a real, it's a rock album. We had, I would say, power pop, maybe could be the best way to describe it.
Wow.
And certainly a very different sound than some of the other releases we had.
Wow, fascinating. This is neat stuff. Rob's going to get on to a second song. We are with Rob Lincoln as our guest this week on Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney, every Monday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on Facebook Live, Rocking the Valley, and Facebook Live, Tom Cooney Music. And Rob said he'll be sharing this later on into his site as well. Rob, what are you thinking about playing for a second time around?
Well, I'm a fool, so the guy who tries 300 songs is going to try a song that I barely have learned. But it's one of those Nick Drake songs I've been style tuning, not his style, but his tuning. So I want to try it. And I think you mentioned something about England. So this takes place in England. I got to go to England when I was, for my 25th anniversary, and really fell in love with a lot of it. And I made sure that everything here was accurate. I actually had a Brit take a look at the lyrics to make sure my references were right, although I've been to some of these places. It'll rain on a sunny day, and if I don't play it right, just remember I just learned it. When the rain came pouring down in London town, all around, puddles were crying out to me on the ground. They made such sounds, and I wonder where you are tonight. In a taxi already now in flight. The motor cars are splashing me in the soggy air. I don't care. West Kensington or Carnaby, I am nowhere. And I wonder where you are tonight. In a taxi already now in flight. It rains on a sunny day when you are away. Sun shone the whole time. It lied to me by Charing Cross. Shirts, skirts, t-shirts they wear. Life in rain, Trafalgar Square. And I wonder where you are tonight. In a taxi already now in flight. It rains on a sunny day when you are away. It rains on a sunny day when you are away.
Well, that was wonderful.
Thank you.
Was that in the new tuning?
Yes. I figured I'd have a British theme since I'm in a tuning that was made kind of famous by a Welshman.
Got it. Now, I think the thing on the audience people might be most familiar with of Nick Drake's is his album and song Pink Moon.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was actually used as a Volkswagen commercial. But he didn't get any royalties because he had been dead for about 20 years prior.
Well, hopefully his family did.
Yeah.
We would hope, yes. We are with Rob Lincoln, as I said, and it is just great to have him here. Rob, your key sites where folks can track you down. Reverb Nation seems to be the one where most of your music is centered. Is that true?
It appears to be, but that is not true. I only have about 311 songs on Reverb Nation, but I have over 500 videos on my YouTube channel. I have now put my entire 300-song album on the YouTube channel with chords and lyrics, with the hope that anyone that enjoys my music or even doesn't enjoy my music might find something that they would like to play.
That is amazing. So the YouTube...
My shtick, yeah. So it's called Lincoln Songs and More.
Lincoln Songs and More.
And if anybody enjoys what they hear, I'd love you to just subscribe to YouTube. It's free. Yeah, YouTube is free, and you will be able to get a variety of videos. They're not all my songs. Occasionally, I will do a cover. I also feature sometimes songs of my favorite artists, but most of those videos are me just playing my songs.
Wonderful. So that's Lincoln Songs and More on YouTube. On Reverb Nation, it's reverbnation.com/Rob Lincoln.
That's right. And we're also doing an archival project. Again, my longtime collaborator, Steve Lessick, is going through some of the material, but it's Art Cohen who is actually digitizing a lot of what he recorded in the 90s and late 80s. So there's a lot of interesting archival material that will be coming up featuring my duo, Lessick and Lincoln, where we used to play around the Northeast corridor. So it'll be a lot of fun to hear that.
Wonderful. Your main www website is lincolnsongs.weebly.com. That's Weebly. So that's lincolnsongs.weebly.com.
Weebly. I do not mix. Thanks to Weebly.
It does sound like a funny word.
Have a little more sixpence, I might get the Weebly off and have my own without the Weebly.
You are getting to see, folks in the audience, some of the joy of hanging around with Rob Lincoln. And this silliness pervades a good portion of his songs as well, where he has very unique and humorous perspectives on things.
I like to think so. Again, I'm in a rather sober mood recently, both not only the events going on in the country, but there's a lot of sadness right now, but in other parts of my life. But basically, I will cheer you up finally once I'll hear your song first, but I promise to cheer you up with a good song about cannibalism.
Well, good. I'm sorry to hear of anything that's going on, and I wish you peaceful resolution for whatever it is.
Thanks.
On Facebook, you can see Rob as Rob Lincoln on Facebook. And also there are supporting faces. I guess Lessick and Lincoln and Cohen have a page as well. And yes. So what's the best place where folks can look for where you might be going out when things start to open up again?
Well, as far as performances will show up on they'll show up on the Reverb Nation page of either Lessick and Lincoln and Cohen or my own. Again, I think the best site for my music is at this point the YouTube channel Lincoln Songs and More. But for my performances, definitely I would say Reverb Nation is a safe bet. But it'll be popping up on our Facebook pages as well. You can like Lincoln Songs and More or Lessick and Lincoln and Cohen.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Some of the neat things up on the Reverb Nation page right now, some of the interesting singles that you'll see that are being highlighted right now are Slightly Disappointed Non-Blues, which I've heard live. It's a great song. Limousine, Street Survivor, and Queen of the Sun. And I think Lonely Pumpkin might be there, but I'm not sure.
Yes, quite a variety. You've got rock and you've got folk and you've got some other things going on there.
It's very good. Our guest last week, Matthew Gordon, was a bit of a chameleon as well, doing lots of different things. Yeah,
I'm impressed with him. He's quite a fine dobro player as well.
Yes, he is. Quite good. Quite good. Let's get on to round 3 of the music. We are with Rob Lincoln. This is Tom Cooney. Songwriters Alive. It's Monday nights, 7 o'clock Eastern Time on Facebook Live, Rocking the Valley, and Facebook Live Tom Cooney Music. You'll see Rob Lincoln posting this out to his page, the stream copy later as well, so keep an eye out for that. We are off next week. I got to tell you, it is Labor Day, so we are going to rerun a show next week, and I will announce which one it is. So that we are going to do. Let me highlight my video. There we go. And that was me squinting at a 32-inch monitor. That's how bad the site's getting. Sad days. Rob has hinted to the challenge that everyone has of staying positive all the time sometimes. Rob is one of the most positive people I've ever met, but we all have challenges, and this has been a rocky year for almost everyone. To stay focused and to stay positive and to get ready for voting. And don't forget in PA, it's votespa.com, folks, votespa.com. Go register or check your registration or apply for a mail-in ballot, votespa.com. In New Jersey, it's at the county level, so you have to go to your county site and find out. One of the songs I wrote in the spring, this is odd because about a week later, one of the Possum members, Nancy Huebner,
Pronounced Huebner, spelled Huebner, but it's Huebner.
Huebner wrote a song about a healthcare worker dealing with COVID as well. It's a beautiful song. You can look it up on her page. I had written mine a week earlier and done it on my weekly Facebook Live show, which is every Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. 3 songs for Prometheus, a great benefactor of humankind. So you can catch that 4 o'clock Eastern time every Tuesday. And this song is about a healthcare worker. It's called Make It Home Today. My hospital shift ends. I shed my tears, shed my clothes, leave my band of brothers and sisters on the front lines to carry the load. I trudge home to my family. I kiss them through the glass of my back porch where I sleep. I don't know how much more I can last till I hold their hands, hold their hearts. So I smile to let them know they are still loved, they have respect. And if it's time for work, I must go. I ain't no hero, but I know there's a life I can save. This is my calling, so I go. I hope I make it home today. I hope I make it home today. We need more tests, we need to trace. My day-old mask won't protect my face. We need ventilators and leaders with heart. What a screwed up human race. Every patient is someone's love, someone's rock, someone's friend. I must be all those things to them if I'm the last one at the end. So I hold their hands, hold their hearts. I smile to let them know they are still loved, they have respect. But if it's time, just let go. I ain't no hero, but I know there's a life I can save. This is my calling, so I go. I hope I make it home today. I ain't no hero, but I know there's a life I can save. It's my calling, so I go. I hope I make it home today. I hope I make it home today.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob. I wrote that on April, Rob, and it still almost moves me to tears every time I play it,
Really, it's so
thinking about that worker and what they have to go through.
it's amazing what's going on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, all honor and propers, and it's amazing. And there are so many people who aren't doing normal things like masking and social distancing that could protect these people who are putting their lives in the front line, and still they're quiet about it. They go about and do their jobs every day. It's just fascinating.
It's a good time to make a shout out to two songwriter friends, first of all, who are nurses who are doing that every day. And of course, one is Nancy Huebner, who's an amazing songwriter as well. And another amazing songwriter is Liz Miller. I don't know if you know Liz, but she is also a nurse, and they're my two friends who are great songwriters as well as nurses. So I figured I'd mention them. Thank them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And again, just trying to do all you can, folks, to keep things as positive and healthy. And we're going to get through this thing, and we can support each other and stay positive and distribute, demonstrate good behaviors, do everything we can. It'd be great.
Definitely.
So let's see. Before we head out to the third round, let me see here. Can I ask you about antiwarsongs.org and Dr. Demento?
Yes. So antiwarsongs.org, I was very proud of because I have no idea how I got on there. So it wasn't anybody that I knew, as far as I know. That somebody just came across a number of my anti-war songs early on when they were posted back, 10 years ago, and put them on this Italian site, and really, it ended up getting, put in Wikipedia as examples of war songs. Since then, I think Wikipedia has eliminated people who are famous and not making lots of money. They don't, therefore. Well, I actually do have some very fine songwriters that aren't particularly rich but are more well known. But it was neat that it's still on the anti-war site, and there's a lot of great anti-war songs on that site. Even though it's in Italian, there's an English translation.
Wonderful.
It was interesting. I was going back and forth with them about Abraham Lincoln. They don't seem to like Abraham Lincoln much, but that's okay. And the other one you were mentioning.
Dr. Demento, you had a.
Oh, yes, the Good Doctor.
Yeah.
I have a number of friends that have also been on the Good Doctor, but I had my song "Cat Got My Tongue, Won't Give It Back." That one made it on Dr. Demento, and it was neat because it's nationally syndicated, so that was a lot of fun.
Fascinating, neat. You've talked a little bit tonight about your love of history, and so many of your songs, especially some of your Civil War ones, are actually based on a lot of research that you've done. So it's not like, slight glances at history. It's based on a real understanding of what might have been happening with the incident or the thing you're talking about. Really, really fascinating.
Yeah, I try to be accurate. I think history is really important. Even today, I think part of what's going on is we're just getting away from what's actual reality. And I plugged my book behind me. I don't know if you can see it, but that's just quotations from two men who are currently well known, and basically just taking the facts without any opinion is sometimes a very good way of beginning to understand what's going on.
Right. The book over Rob's shoulder is Trump versus Obama.
Yeah, and essentially, it sounds like it's a very political book, but actually, all it is a reference book.
Right. Quotes, yeah.
If you just take a look at what people are saying in the past or even in the present and make up your own mind, I think you're going to come to some good conclusions that are based on fact rather than our hormones.
Right. Another neat thing that you've done is you're a co-designer of an app. I believe you did it with David Kleiner. It's called Other Faces.
Well, yeah, it's funny. It's called History Faces.
History Faces, excuse me.
Other Faces is a song titled by Heidi Wilson, but that's interesting. History Faces is the name of the app. It was also co-designed a bit by Wes Powers, but David Kleiner has put in all of the sweat and work of all of the written content, and I came up with the concept and helped us make a whole couple $100 after putting in tens of thousands of dollars. So it's been a really good, lucrative. Seriously, I think it is of value, and I appreciate you mentioning it again. It allows people to kind of increase their historical literacy in a fun way, and it can be found at the App Store, and it's free.
Yeah,
Freely.
it's really fascinating because it's focused on one person at a time from every part of life in our history. And I remember you sharing parts of it on Facebook where you would pose it as a quiz. Who was this person, this female from the 1870s, for example? She did this, this, and this. Who was it? And it was a great way to engage people.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think it's a perfect segue. You're going to get into my next song. It's about a historical person as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. All right. So Rob Lincoln is going to close us out. Our guest this week has been Rob Lincoln, and this is Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney every Monday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on Facebook Live Rocking the Valley, paged out to Facebook Live Tom Cooney Music. And don't forget to catch up with Rob on YouTube on Lincoln Songs and More on Reverb Nation as Rob Lincoln, his website lincolnsongs.weebly.com, and on Facebook as plain old Rob Lincoln, a great musician, a very generous musician who's been helping lead Philadelphia area songwriters for a long time. And Rob, thank you from everyone for the amount of energy that you put out into the songwriting community in the tri-state area, as well as for being a good songwriter.
Thank you, Tom, and it's my joy and pleasure as well as my social life. It's all my friends are there, and I love it, and I love all of them and all of the pasa, and I really appreciate you getting back involved, and I appreciate the opportunity to play. So we're gonna have a nice little story. This is historically accurate. It comes directly from the court transcripts of Alfred Packard, Alferd. This is not a pro-cannibalism song. It's just taking his position. I'm not saying that I'm all for cannibalism, but anyhow. So this is about the only man ever convicted of cannibalism in the United States. Oh, it's not Jeffrey Dahmer. It's old Alfred Packard, Colorado. When Alfred was sentenced by the judge in court, the judge said, "We had 7 Democrats in this year county, and you son of a bitch, you ate 5 of them. I sentence you to death, and may God have mercy on your Republican soul." Well, this is Alfred's side of the story. We had to get down to the mine in town, cause I caught that gold fever. Well, I knew the land like the back of my hand, was about 6 feet tall. I was their scout and tried my best, but the winter took its toll. Who's to say what we to do? Nowhere to go, nowhere to run. A blizzard had called our party at 6. First to go was Israel's farm. There was no food to stay alive, we knew his soul was gone. So 5 of us, we went our way, just trying to survive. Mr. Judge, don't you think you're better than me when you want to stay alive? Who's to say what we to do? Nowhere to go, nowhere to run. When I came back from the top of the hill, they'd all been killed with one. And out there in the dead of night, what had you used my gun? Oh yeah, I used a hatchet on Mr. Bell, but I swear in self-defense. Once they were dead, what could I do? I guess you know the rest. Who's to say what you've done? Nowhere to go, nowhere to run. To hang to death, but I got another trial. I was in prison for 12 years, but out at 59. And now I'm living here in Middleton, where I tend my garden now. I am a free man, I love this land at the back of my innocent hand. I am a free man, I love this land at the back of my innocent hand. Who's to say what nowhere to go, nowhere to run. Who's to say what you have done? Nowhere to go, nowhere to run. Who's to say what you'd have done? Nowhere to go. Nowhere to run. Can't run from me.
That's fascinating. And a true story.
It's true.
Oh my, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, I want to thank you very much. Our guest this week has been Rob Lincoln, and do keep track of him and follow up on his sites. As you can tell, very unique person, great songwriter. Make sure you track down Rob Lincoln's stuff. We'll be off next week for Labor Day. I'll be running a rerun, which I'll announce. And in the future, don't forget, you can see on this show Phyllis Chappelle, Lisa Jeanette, Julianne Ott, with I hear Rob Lincoln sitting in that night is the rumor. Also on fiddle, yeah, Rob plays banjo too as well, and Alyssa Dodge, among others. And so thank you for joining me again Monday nights at 7 o'clock. Steve Jones is